In today's video, it's going to be a little bit more of a personal kind of feeling towards the Halloween franchise. I thought I'd give you kind of the overview as a young Halloween fan, what Michael and the Shape really kind of is to me. So starting off, unfortunately, my first Halloween movie that I ever saw was Rob Zombie's 2007 film. I know. As you guys all know, this film featured a fucking mammoth of a man that was Michael Myers, who we see backstory of in that he growed up in like a trailer park trash type of home. And it almost gave the nature-nurture kind of argument or effect on why Michael snapped. And it gave a real explanation into what kind of fucked him up. The film was a very below-average horror slasher with a more kind of gritty and dark, and I think a good word to describe it is just dirty. And I mean, just off the bat, this should not have been a Michael Myers movie. But obviously, that being my first film, this gave me the complete wrong impression of who Michael was compared to people that had obviously grown up with it. And being completely honest, as like a young person that had just watched that film that was like balls to the walls, to then go from that to watching the original 1978 one, I was actually really like dissatisfied with the film. And obviously the one take on it was, Jesus, this is different. Now, I like the other slashers like Jason, Freddy, Chainsaw Massacre. While I do enjoy the Friday the 13th films and the Texas Chainsaw Massacres as well as Freddy, there was something about Michael that just really stood out to me. And it probably was the idea of just being a young kid who has just seen this 6'9", like Tyler Maine's Michael, whether you like the film or not. That's a scary man. But with that connection, and I just felt like I really wanted to see more Michael, I decided to start kind of like my Halloween journey, and I obviously watched all the other films. And I think it was because I was younger when watching it, and obviously having that first impression be so different. It took me a while to understand truly like what the Shape and the actual goal with that first movie was. But then I started to really appreciate these older films, and I started dissociating Rob Zombie's Michael from the original, as well as almost like dissociating Michael Myers from the Shape. Because as far as I was concerned with the Shape, that was like a clean slate for me. Like, that had no like pre-thought out thing the way Michael Myers did, going from 2007 to the original. So once I dissociated them and I had the clean slate with the Shape, and I realized what this truly was as a franchise, I started really appreciating the creepiness of the original. And that was a good moment for me as well, being younger, because I started to really understand and appreciate the older fans and the people that really grew up with this franchise, and I understood where they were coming from and how much this entire franchise really means to them, which is why some people get so protective over what Michael is and how much he's explained. And then I've kind of grown into that person now. I hate it when he gets explained. But going back to kind of the title of the video and the aim, what Michael is to me is this boy who grew up in a normal home with a normal family, but for some reason on Halloween night in 1963, he decided to murder his sister, and he then grew into something with no real like human emotion, you know, possibly supernatural, possibly not. The assumptions are there to be made, but the important part for me is that it's never put down on film, explained what Michael is and why he does what he does. Now, I see Michael as this smart, calculated, animal-like thing. You know, the way that he stalks and then kills his victims with this, like, really eerie patience, which we really got to see in the original. To me, it's what makes him stand out from the rest, because of how much slower he moves and how much longer some of these kills can take. Like, they just seem so much more, like, creepy. And, you know, all we really know is that he kills. Talking about more present time, the fact that we now have these two films out now, obviously we have the third coming this year, I feel like I'm getting as close to the feeling people had growing up with like the original Shape as I possibly can, in terms of like going to the cinema, being freaked out, like this is a modern day take on the Shape that stays very true to what the original idea is so far. Obviously, for me, this radio tower thing is worrying me, just because I'm really worried I'm not going to like the ending to it. But I do really appreciate what David Gordon Green's done so far. And, I mean, James Drew Courtney, as I've said in my last video, the performance was just fucking insane. And, you know, to me, the main thing that I really want with Halloween films in the future is for the mystery to still be there. You know, I don't think we should see his face. I like that kept to as like minimum as possible. And as I said before, we shouldn't be given an explanation on why he does what he does, or we associate it to this thing or person that is controlling him. And especially not the explanation we got in 2007, because I actually almost sympathised with him at times. Like, that's how I don't know, 2007 is just a shit show. But let me know in the comments below whether you kind of agree with my points or whether Michael means something different to you. Obviously, it's interesting seeing people's different takes on the shape and what they hope for him in the future. So yeah, leave a comment down below of what you think. I love reading through all the comments on this channel, whether it's theories, ideas, whatever you guys have to say. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I'll see you guys